What's up, guys? We have a very special guest joining me today, Brett Simba, the owner of Tradeify. He's throwing me for a loop on this interview, but we finally here and we're doing it. We're getting it done. Brett, what's up, dude?
Hey, what's going on, man? Listen, I'm sorry. I didn't put the meeting in my calendar for some reason. I live or die by the calendar now. And I know I appreciate you pushing this back a couple hours. Funny story, I took my son to the zoo. You text me, obviously, you're like, "Hey, you ready?" I'm like, "Oh shit, totally forgot." I was gonna be back in the afternoon. Didn't have it down, like I said. But anyway, we get there. We're at the furthest point of the park, right where the giraffes are. We wanted to feed the giraffes. That was like a big goal. Took our time getting there. As
Yeah.
soon as we get there, I'm literally walking up to, because you have to pay a little bit extra, wait in the line to feed them or something like that. Walking up to it just starts downpouring. I'm literally next in line with my wife and son, and they tell us we're beat. Like, they got to stop. They just tell everyone to go away, and like they got to close the park or not close the park, whatever. Make everybody like go under shelter for a bit. And I'm like, "Oh, come on." So anyway, we walk away. I'm like, "All right, we got to leave soon because he's got to go down for a nap soon." I look at the infographic thing with like the map of the park. We're as far away as possible from the exit, like the literal tipping point of it. And we had to walk back all the way in the downpouring rain. As soon as we got to the exit, clear skies again. That's how
Nice.
Florida is.
There you
So I got
go.
a little karma payback for missing out on our scheduled
You
time.
did. That's okay, but we're here. It's that Florida rain, bro. I swear it rains like every single day down there around like 2 p.m., 3 p.m. It's like rain always around that time for whatever
It's
reason.
crazy. Like all week is supposed to be like thunderstorms and stuff. So,
Yeah.
it's getting into hurricane season now. So that's what it's going to be. It's either 5 minutes, an hour, 2 minutes. You never know. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Gotcha. Well,
but yeah, man, happy to be here. It's been a
yeah,
minute.
dude. Yeah, we love it. I love it. We appreciate you being here. Let's jump in, dude, because you've made there's been a lot of prop firms coming into the future space lately, and you've made a few predictions in the space and they've come true. So you've been known to read the future here in the space. So I'm going to open the floor for you here and let you kind of dive in on that and talk about the space and why you've been seeing what you're seeing and why it's happening.
Yeah. So, reading the future in the future space, basically, a lot of firms that are coming out right now are finding, I guess, a tough time trying to compete against everyone else. You have to have some type of an edge. You got to think of something that you can provide in order to differentiate yourself. To You might have something that's really cool, but the only way to get an audience in front of you is to have either a mass amount of affiliates behind you, a big brand, uh, just a really clean site and new type of product. And a lot of firms, I think, can't find that right now because when you're first starting out after the downfall of other firms we've seen, not a lot of affiliates want to just run to you. It's hard to make a new product. The straight to sim funded plan that we have is pretty much like the newest one in the space. There hasn't really been much development since that. So if you don't have, again, that backing or a new plan or something, you could have the coolest looking site and all of that. It's going to be hard to grow. So a lot of people think that you have to then look at things like undercutting, right? Or making plans cheaper or making rules easier. But the problem with that is you're going to bring in a big crowd. And then once you bring in that big crowd, if you have to dial it back and circle back, you're going to have people, not liking you or saying, "Hey, you just launched and are doing this already, that already." So, I've been pretty vocal on the on socials in general, just because I want people to know, hey, as a trader, I get it. I was a trader, I was an affiliate, I was all of that.
Yeah,
And of course, you want to take advantage of when a prop launches and they have rules that are easy, or
sure.
some people on our side we call them unsustainable,
Yeah.
obviously. But those are going to be the ones that people want to flock to because they think it's the easiest to get a payout. And sure, when you get in the door at first, you're going to probably be able to get that payout, be able to talk about it. And of course, the firm's going to want to talk about it as well because firms are built upon marketing their payouts to traders. So in
Yeah.
the beginning, they can't have bad press. They're not going to deny a lot of payouts, do anything like that. So of course, there's going to be a lot of payouts going out. And if you get in, sure, you'll be all right. But it's really that man who gets the shit end of the stick. There's no other
Right.
way to say it, where, a couple months down the line, it turns into a little bit of a potential shit show where things reverse on you. You're made
Hmm.
promises and different things that change. So
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing in the space that we're seeing right now, is that it's tough to get into the market, and people are just trying to find a way to make themselves look attractive
Sure.
any way they can.
In terms of difficulty launching a prop firm in the space in the current environment, right? I almost look at it as like a bubble, right? Do you think that the space is getting too thin, right? Where there's so many prop firms and there's not enough traders to actually make each and every single one of these firms profitable? Do you think eventually that's think of like the real estate housing market, right?
Right.
2008, right? Do you think it's just going to pop, right? Do you think that eventually that a lot of these newer firms could fall off due to just lack of traders being able to sustain all of these prop firms?
I don't think that's a good question. I don't think that the space will pop. I think more so the ability to get in, or the amount of them might pop, or
Yeah,
I don't even want to say that's a pop, right? It's just not going to be as easy to get in, or people won't want to get in. There's a lot of these new firms launching. I think this big wave right now that we're seeing is going to take a turn for some people for the worse. Some people might just phase out under wraps. Some people might make it. There's two big forex firms that just launched recently.
yeah,
They have a big base behind them from FX. They have a lot of money. They have marketing. They've done it all, right? So they're able to kind of see and take the experience they've had there and transition it to futures. So most likely they'll be all right, or figure it out. It might be a little tough battle for them because it is a totally different space than FX.
sure. Yeah,
But these other people who don't have a big backing, or haven't been in the FX space before and think they can just launch a prop, they're in for a rude awakening. It takes 2 to 3 months to be able to see the raw data, you do on some plans. And that's what I've always said. And, I'm sure we'll get into that later on. But
yeah,
when you come out with any type of plan, or you come out with anything in prop, in the beginning, there's no payouts, right? That first week, I mean, unless someone's perfect and you have like a 5-day window or something like that, you're not going to see any payouts. So all it
yeah,
is revenue coming in. And when you look at that as an owner, it's rainbows and dandelions, right? It's awesome. Great. This is how look at what we're doing. We did it. We launched, we got traders, we got people talking about us. Yeah. Yeah. This and that. Right. And then all
yeah.
of a sudden all the payouts come in. You see that you have things that are unsustainable. It's not about making the rules harder for traders. It's about being able to have set guidelines to abide by, where you're able to pay out these traders, right? And able to actually take them live and not have to worry about what's going to happen if I'm not able to do that, or creating things that are too easy, right? Just to get a quick check in the door. Because again, that just builds and pushes the snowball down and gets bigger and bigger before it eventually just crashes. So
There's obviously a balance there, right? When you're changing rules with your firm to make things hard for the traders, but then also the affordability side of things too. Like, how do you really just like make a decision on what you think is best in terms of balancing that, right? Where you do
right.
have to change rules and maybe make a lot of traders mad, and you might lose a little bit of customer base, but
Mm-hmm.
also making it affordable too, right? And so, how do you
Right.
balance the two?
Right. That's a good question too. So I think there's like a perfect balance of all the top firms. I think I've said this before, but basically, you have some that are cheaper up front, much harder rules, maybe an activation fee, or maybe not. It's a little bit more and no activation fee. There's ones that have, a medium price up front, no activation fee, a little bit better rules, different payout structure. There's ones that are expensive, high ticket item, like us with straight to sim funded, where you skip the whole eval. Things are easier in the sense that you don't have to pass one account to get to the funded stage, and every dollar counts towards a payout. But of course, those are more expensive, and there's a consistency rule on that, a harder consistency rule. So there's a lot of different things you can tweak, right? The different variables at firms are always going to be rules, and there's a big subcategory under that. If you're looking at rules in general, there's going to be, consistency rule, drawdown, profit
Yeah,
target, scaling plan. Probably missing something. I don't know, something else, right? At
yeah,
least 5 things. So that's part of it. So it's going to be rules. It's going to be price. It's going to be number of accounts. It's going to be payout cap. And then, of course, it's going to be scalability. I don't want to say scalability, but it kind of goes under rules, between payouts, what you're able to achieve. And then, of course, the big one, which is live, live
Sure.
transition,
Yeah.
what that looks like. So it's tough to be able to tweak one thing at a time, but that's kind of what you have to do because you're not going to know exactly what is going to be the outcome of changing a rule for 2 to 3 months. And that's
Yeah.
again because traders, when they buy these evaluations or straight to sim funded plans, whatever, any type of plan, right? The owner of the prop's not going to be able to see the data on those for at least 3 weeks at the earliest, because there's going to be people who, of course, get a payout maybe in that first week. Maybe it takes people 2 weeks, depends on, your days to pay out. 10 days, some firms have, it's 2 whole weeks. Someone's going to do it perfectly, right? A couple handful of people are. There's going to be people who take 3 weeks, 4 weeks, right, to get their first payout. There's going to be people who take 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Great. That's only the first payout, though, right?
Right.
The second payout, again, is where people are then going from 5 to 10x their money on their first payout to, okay, now I just did 12 to 20x my money if I got a second payout, right? So you're not able to evaluate those second, third, fourth payouts, eventually live transition, until you're in the business or have a plan for a couple months. So it's
Got it.
very tough to evaluate, very tough to do things. You've got to do it systematically and really programmatically. Like, I don't even know if that's a word, programmatically, one at a time, pretty much.
Yeah.
You don't get a feel for what you're going to do until you've seen a little bit of data, so you can try to tweak things on the back end. We have two data scientists that we work with, who've been able to help us really highlight what we can change, what we can't, to make sure things are going good for us in the long run.
Yeah.
And both attractive to a trader, because they still have to be attractive to the trader, of course, but also sustainable for us as a firm. So to answer your question, there is no one size fits all answer. It's just trial and error, and
Trial
it's
and error, yeah.
very hard to do, especially in the beginning stages.
So that would be why we see some firms maybe change a set of rules, right? And then a couple weeks go by, a few weeks go by, they have data on it, and then you see more rule changes because it didn't quite get
Right.
them into the pocket that they were hoping to get. Because there's a little time delay after the
Right.
rule changes, right? Got it.
But not only that, because there's been a firm who's, I know, changed rules and then a week or 2 weeks later changed them again.
Yeah.
And that's because if it's not a retroactive rule, they still have all of those original accounts. It might be getting worse and worse. And before that new change that they did even takes effect, that they're hoping to basically put a dent in the snowball again rolling down the hill, right? But before they can even let it take effect, that snowball's just barreling down and keeps going before you can see the impact of making those changes. So they get scared, they want to do another change. Before you know it, firms lost hope, right?
Yeah.
So I think that it's important to launch with some plans that sure can be a little bit attractive, but don't let it get out of hand too long. Don't leave it longer than a couple of weeks. If you're a new firm, I'm not going to sit here and say that we didn't change rules in the beginning.
Sure.
Sit here and say that we didn't change rules in the beginning either. We did.
Yeah.
Right. But I think we also launched during a time where there was no set guideline or baseline, you could say, for straight to sim funded.
Sure.
So I'm not going to use that as an excuse or pass for us, but maybe gives us a little bit more credit compared to some other competitors who've now seen, hey, this is what Tradeify has done with the straight to sim funded. This is what this other firm has done with straight to sim funded, and they haven't had too many issues, in the long run, right? 6 months or so. So that's the only thing I could say is the difference.
Bro, let me ask this, because there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of talk in the industry about regulation, bro. Like,
Yeah.
is there something? Is there what's the one big thing? Is it coming or is it not?
Yeah, so we haven't heard. I've talked with a couple different owners and some other people. There's nothing really coming down that we've heard of with regulation. So I know there was an email that went out from a firm, talking about regulation. We haven't seen anything. It's more so being proactive rather than reactive to it, though. So things that you want to see are a clear path to live. You want to be able to have terms and regulations on your site that you're abiding by. You don't want to do any deceptive marketing, different things like that. There's also a little affiliate portion to it where some firms might want to be going in the direction of bigger aspirations, like looking towards brokerage, stuff like that. And the way that you have affiliates on that end has to change a little bit, because you can't just have Sally, John, and Mike down the street become affiliates. You got to really make sure you have the right people, make sure they're saying the right thing, because that can fire back on you.
Yeah.
If you're not going for those bigger aspirations, you're just a prop. Sure, they can maybe say one thing, but there's going to be more regulation and more guidelines to follow the bigger you get if you're venturing into those avenues. So that's what we've seen a couple other firms do,
Got it.
some of the big guys. So that's why they are saying that. So they might be a little bit different than us at the stage we're in right now. But as far as regulation for the whole space, haven't heard anything. Mostly everyone's just being proactive there.
Got it. Speaking of clear path to live, let's just jump right into this. I'm sure you saw a previous interview that I had done with another firm, and we talked about that path to live, going to live. Let me get your comments on that, bro. I'm sure you watched the interview. What'd
Yep.
you think?
I think this goes for every firm, not just them too. I think if you're one of the top five, even outside of that top 10, if you're a firm in general, to be honest, I'm not even going to limit it to the big ones. I think it's more. I think that the big guys are like the role models almost. So I'm giving more emphasis to this when I say it, but when you come out with an announcement or you talk about a big feature or something, you have to have it clearly defined, right? You come out with things like, I'll just answer this now. There was the SRO thing,
Yeah.
right? Which we're not being a part of, by the way, at least at this time. Wasn't any fine details on that.
From what I heard,
So
there's not a lot of firms that are going to be a part of it.
no, and I think, but again, this goes to my point of there's a problem when you come out with an announcement like that and you don't have it clearly defined. Of course, people are going to attack you,
Yeah.
right? If it was clearly defined in more so a way where it was just about, oh, if someone commits credit card fraud, there's a third party who's going to make sure that that card can't be used, something like that. I don't think anybody can really complain about something like that unless it's like a legitimate, I don't know, issue with that firm or something like that sort. But the way that it was phrased, the SRO is like there's going to be a bigger thing of data sharing. So that sounded bad. But when
Yeah.
you're that big, again, you can't come out and say something. So anyway, going back to your question, when you come out with something and talk about a clear path to live, you have to have at least some foundation, especially if you're just saying, hey, we've only had a couple of traders that nobody's ever heard of go live, and then you're just kind of cherry picking out of nowhere. Like there's people who have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands in payouts who
Yeah.
aren't getting something to be moved to live. There's people who have just traded one account that are getting moved to live, and I get it. You want to have those people who are really disciplined, but also if you want to be sustainable, you got to move people to live. You can't just have them sim farming like I call it forever. So I think you need a path to live. It could be a squiggly line to get there, right? It doesn't have to be a clear path in terms of this, and this must happen. Even for us, there's not really like a this, and this. It's more like for us, it's 3 to 4 payouts on the same account,
Yeah.
or demonstrating a strong consistency and trading skill, in your first or second payout. I don't think anybody has been moved from their first payout, but second payout, maybe you'll get there, right? But mostly that third and fourth. So I'm not saying there's a one shoe fits all for being moved to live with us, but I'm at least telling you the different scenarios,
At
right? So
least something has to be in place.
right, exactly. That if it's like hopscotch, you get from the one, you go to when there's two here, are you going to go left or right? But
Yeah.
eventually you get to the end, right? So at least that these are the different types of paths, and you can at least trade and start working towards those eventually to get to the end.
Yeah. One thing I took away from that interview too is taking people live when maybe the live department is not exactly fully built out yet. Because we've seen this
Yeah.
previous email before. I believe it was last year at some point. I could be wrong on timeline, but there was another email that went out on having live traders, right? And so
Mhm.
for us to right now say like, hey, we have a handful of traders, but we don't have a full department lined out. Why not just say, oh, why not just come out and say, hey, we don't have a live department just yet. Let's wait. We're waiting to take people live, but once we do have it fully built out, then we'll take people live, right? Then we'll start showing that. I think that's
Right.
the whole transparency thing behind the space, right? Because at this point, and I know I'm speaking for a lot of different traders here, that their BS meters are way up here, right? The BS
Right.
meters have shot up in the industry as of late, right? And
Right.
for good reason too, right? And so what the industry wants to see more of is that transparency. Is we're doing what we're saying we're going to do, right? And so
I
I think
agree.
that is I think that's and that can only help too. Like if you do have live traders, why not show you have live traders, right? Like a lot of firms, including you guys, even you guys, you have a leaderboard like of
Right.
like payouts from or prof P&Ls of live traders, right? So
We've
you're
only had the we've not to interrupt you. We've only had the program for a couple months too. We plan to expand on that
yeah,
and really showcase it. So to your point, I don't see why someone wouldn't want to, because those are the top of the top, right? Those are
yeah.
the elite. You also want to show like, hey, there's people that are getting to this level with us. Like this is the end goal for you to go live, and you're actually becoming you're a professional trader at that point. You actually have to pay the professional data fees because you're trading with our capital too. So
And it
I
only
think a
helps
lot
you.
of people downplay it a little
Yeah.
bit.
100%. 100%. Cool. Well, dude, let's talk about Tradeify for a second because you haven't even been around for a year yet. Like, I mean,
I know.
which is crazy to say because it seems like it's been a lot longer than what it has been, right? It seems it's
Feels
been a
like it,
lot
man.
longer.
I definitely got some gray hairs around. I think my wife said so. That definitely means it's 3 or 4 times the amount of time we've been in business, taking a
Yeah.
toll.
Well, you guys have had explosive growth since you guys have been around for a year. And I was actually looking at Payout Junction, and you guys are at, for all time, 39, what is it? $39 million in payouts. Is that right?
I think I haven't checked, but I've been looking every other day or so, and I've been waiting for us to take. I think that's the number 4 spot, right?
Yeah,
Let me
that's the
see.
number 4 spot.
Yeah, so we're number 4 on those who use Payout Junction. I'll give everyone benefit of the doubt there. Some firms don't, right? But still a huge accomplishment. I think we just passed like Alpha Cap, which they've been around there in the FX space for years, but it's super awesome to see, man. It just goes to show that it irons back our mission that we're here to grow alongside of our traders. We come out with new tools, every few months. We've had a really clean dashboard. We've been very transparent. I think every announcement that we do has been very transparent. We don't hide anything in the trader contract, anything like that. There hasn't been a single payout denial, not a single
Whew.
denied payout. Well, let me rephrase. There was two, but it was because somebody basically created a second account under another email. Didn't even use a different name. Literally their same name, same rise. So that one was denied. It was like two payouts, but I don't count
Yeah.
that. I don't count it as something that we denied due to a rule or anything. That's just whatever. But not a single denied payout. And again, I think that's because we've been able to build something that a lot of people like and they trust, and we want to continue to build upon that. Our goal is to be 1% better a day, and I think we've really nailed that.
Nice. Do you think, starting off in the beginning, right? The straight to funded model was really hot. It was a hot topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that when you guys launched it, that really helped propel your growth? Do you think that played a huge factor with like the timing of everything with the
Yep.
straight to funded?
I'm not going to sit here and say that we'd be here without having seen the downfall of like FTT, and I don't want to say downfall, uh, the birth even, because
Yeah.
we saw their plan. We took something similar in the straight to sim funded. We tweaked it, didn't launch it as unsustainable, so to say, as they were. We didn't have 20 accounts,
Yeah.
which was 40 actually. I think you could do like an LLC
You
also,
could.
right?
Yeah. It was 40.
Dude, that's still insane to me. I mean, it's just nuts. But there's no reason. Real quick, while we're on that, like 20 accounts, there's no reason. I think there's a statistic. I forget. Someone told me, but and I've just seen it too, and been talking to people. Most people don't even get more than 10 at a time. Like
No.
unless they're like little slot things like dirt cheap, $10, $20 type things that we see somewhere. But nobody really trades more, and you don't really need that many, right? You can still get a really good paycheck, 5 to 10 accounts, even
100%.
three
Yeah.
accounts at some firms. But anyway, circling back, we were able to nail our deal with Tradeivate and NinjaTrader in 2021. We put the business on the back burner. We started it again, not started again, but started development again in 2024. And I think in 2024, a lot of firms, or not a lot of firms weren't able to get contracts with Tradeivate and NinjaTrader very easy. They were a little bit pickier then for some reason. And I think it was because of maybe the Forex space was getting a little iffy and the my Forex funds thing. Actually, I don't know if I've ever said this. We were actually going to launch. Originally, we were building for Forex. And we were
Oh,
about to sign. We didn't like come up with the plans exactly and stuff. But we were slowly like building the business and about to start getting into it for Forex because we talked with somebody who was going to help with risk management, because that's the hardest part of being a firm, the risk management
Yeah.
tools and different things like that. He had a lot of firms under him already. And then we decided not to. We just decided to go into futures. And thank God we did, because then, that's when right when the My Forex Funds thing happened and everyone just went down. So really happy we made that decision. But anyway, we were able to build on Tradeify, and I think NinjaTrader and Tradeify, even still to this day, they don't take everyone. They'll be a little bit looser now with people, but that gives you like that stamp of approval type thing,
Nice. Yeah.
because you need they do a KYB, know your business. They can look into the people behind it, etc. So I think that was a good thing that got us in. FGT didn't have that either, so that was our little edge
It's
over
a
them.
credibility thing. That's something that like a lot of
Exactly.
traders looked for was, do they have Tradeify? Do you have NinjaTrader? And that's what they, I think, looked for other firms as well,
Right.
because it's like, if you don't have Tradeify or you don't have NinjaTrader, why is that? Like,
Right. And there
what's
was
the
only
story
pretty
behind it?
much, I think there was only Rhythmic at that point, pretty much. There might have been DX Feed and Volumetrica maybe then, but pretty much it was either Rhythmic or Tradeivate back then, a year ago, right? So everybody had Rhythmic because it was super easy to do the application. You can get it, like anybody and everyone, I think, can really get it. So it didn't really give you any of that credibility or stamp of approval.
Yeah.
So I think that was how we were able to grow too. Off
Now
of that.
getting Tradeivate and NinjaTrader now is actually probably harder than it was, right? Because they stopped kind of taking on clients there for a minute, didn't they?
I think now they're taking on more clients.
Okay.
I know, but I think they're still doing like a lot of their background checks
Did
and
the
stuff like that.
acquisition have anything to do
I'm
with?
sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't want to
Yeah.
overstep or say anything. They haven't like told us exactly, but we talk with them
Gotcha.
frequently. We
Speaking
we
of,
uh, we we love the partnership with them. They're
yeah,
they're the biggest retail futures broker in the space.
yeah, 100%.
They have something really cool they've been trying to come out with recently, and got back and forth some things. But I think very soon a lot of people will see something that they're really going to like coming from NinjaTrader and Tradeivate soon.
Awesome. Cool. Let's talk about another platform that I've seen a lot of people talking about and wanting. I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. And
Yep.
Project X. When's it
Yes.
coming, bro? Because the people want to know.
It's funny. I on Tradeify TV, we got one of our hosts. I'm not going to talk about it here, but we launched that, and it's been great and cool. But one of our hosts, at first, he didn't know about Project X, and he's like, "I've been seeing people talk about Project X, and before I looked it up, I thought they were talking about the movie. I'm like, why are they bringing up the movie?" And I'm like, "Oh, I forgot about that movie." So it was pretty funny that he said that. I'm sure you can guess it was Matt, but anyway, yeah, Project X, we're excited to bring them on. The reason that we haven't is because, and I've kind of pushed it back. I think I said like April we wanted to have them, but the reason that we pushed it back is the foundation of Tradeify. We originally didn't expect to grow as fast as we did. We didn't expect to be here at all, at least right now. Right,
Yeah.
maybe in a few years from now, but we've exploded onto the scene. We're very thankful for that. But the original base that we built the house on and the foundation wasn't made right to be able to scale this many users from here. Uh, Everything's working fine right now. There are no issues, but if we continue to grow as we are, a few months down the line or towards the end of the year, we might run into some problems where we can't add new features, different things like that. So we're redoing that foundation. So, we got to keep all of this intact while we take out that bottom layer and swap it in. So I like to say, we're swapping out the titanium for vibranium so we can keep building upon, you know, the features that we offer and different
Wakanda
things.
forever.
Wakanda forever, man. Exactly. Project X. There you
Project
go.
X,
So
there you
that's
go.
when so once we get that vibranium in, then we'll be able to launch Project X. So we're hoping to get the new site out so that it's a new backend, but we're also launching with a new site at the same time. So
Yeah.
hoping to get that out this month. And then Project X, I'd like to say, a date maybe by July 15th. Again, I think that's hopefully under promising, but no promises on that either.
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, I have to ask this too. I mean, maybe you have an answer for it just because I know I've been asked this question is if you do get project, or just say when you get Project X, right?
Yep. We will have them. Yep.
Yeah, you will have them. So when you get Project X, can people transfer from Tradeify to X?
We have, I know there's been some people talking about it. You asked me
Yeah.
a couple times. I
Yeah.
think I'm going to give you the same answer. I'm not too sure yet. I think we'd like to I don't want to say it's a yes or no because of X or Y. I know immediately I can say no at first, just because we're going to have an influx of people just signing up as new users first. So before we implement another type of thing where you like maybe have to submit a ticket and we have to handle support cases to transfer your account from here to here and all of that, we haven't even talked about building. Well, I think maybe it was brought up once, but we haven't built out anything to be able to transfer all of your data from like this broker to that broker or like how it's tracked on the back end. So I'd have to double check. I'd like to offer it. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. I'm not sure, but I lean towards yes.
Cool.
Just probably not right away.
Yeah.
I'd say it's
Definitely.
probably a 65-35 chance.
Okay. Got it. Well,
Pretty good.
that's still
That's
pretty good odds.
that's a 2-1. That's more than a 2-1 R to
Yeah.
R.
Yeah.
Six, right?
That's still pretty good. Pretty good. Well, you brought it up earlier, Tradeify TV. You just launched Tradeify TV, bro. Talk to us about that. How's it going? What's the plans for that? Because you've been bringing on guest speakers every single day, it seems like, for Tradeify TV. So
Mhm.
what's the plans for that? What are you looking to do with Tradeify TV?
So Tradeify TV, excuse me, we're not looking to cut affiliates or only grow organically, anything like that. The main three things that we're looking to do is grow the Tradeify brand, even just outside of prop, educate traders, and of course, just have entertaining content, right? Trading can be boring. We want to make sure that people are getting involved. We want to introduce new people to trading. We want to have a resource. We want to have some type of outlet to announce everything that we're coming out with, right? In order for me to come on and talk about things, sure, I can post a social video, but it would be great to just come on a TV show that we have and do a segment or come on, you know, just like CNBC, all of these guys,
Yeah.
channels that they have, right? So it's nice to have a channel outlet to kind of be able to voice different things that are going on behind the scenes, as well as highlight different things our traders are doing, etc. Now, of course, we love our affiliates doing that. And like I said, we don't have any plans to cut affiliates. While we're on the topic of affiliates, I think that the only reason that the biggest firm pretty much did that is because they are going, like I said before, that broker type of path.
Hmm.
So there's more strict rules that you have on affiliates. I understand where they're coming from. I understand where the affiliates are coming from who built them up, but business is business. At some point, you have to do something. I think there can be like more of a warning or something you can tell people. So we don't have any plans right now to do that. Again, in the future, the only reason that we'd have to change our relationship with them or bring them in house or exclusive stuff like that only would be if regulation permits or forces us, kind of.
Sure.
So, but anyway, Tradeify TV has been great. I've been loving it. We want to bring on a lot of guests. We want to have great content. I'm excited. We'll get you on there for sure, man. In
Yeah.
the next
100%.
coming weeks, talk about your journey in prop with us and with other props in general. And
Yeah.
I think it's just cool for traders to connect. We want to build a community. That is the main goal for Tradeify TV.
I mean, right now you guys only do like a portion of like the trading day. You don't do the entire
Yes.
day. Do you guys ever have plans to like maybe cover the entire day and like look
Yeah.
for different segments to bring into Tradeify TV, or just do you only plan on covering like a certain portion of the trading day?
I think eventually we'll stretch to all day. In the beginning, we wanted to start out with just 3 hours just to really nail it down. We
Yeah.
also launched it a little bit early. I wouldn't say it's like MVP of where we want to be for like that first initial release, but I think we're learning along the way. And as we learn, we can start to expand. I think that we will be expanding it maybe another hour or so in the next few weeks already.
Yeah.
But we would like to, take over and just get our feet wet so that the beginning and all the content for those first couple hours is entertaining and everything's good. You don't want the second half to be shittier than the first half, right? You want it to
Sure.
just be good throughout.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure anything that we do is still up to par with that first product that we have, right? So I think
Yeah.
it's tougher to launch with a whole entire segment, all bunch of segments and shows and expect it to work good. I think it's easier to work on one piece of the train first and then add cars, to it as you go along. So
Yeah.
same thing that we're doing with the whole brand of Tradeify too, right? Adding like the journal, adding different things along the way.
Cool. Now, speaking of adding things, right? There's some new things you're getting ready to implement, right? So one is you have a new website interface coming
Yep.
out, right? New payments, right? Like
Yep.
crypto, wire, and then you're actually gonna go with the Grand Cup, right?
Yep. So I'm sure you just read that. We're trying to get a little bit better too. talking with our brand affiliates and everything. So emails are going to be going out to everyone whenever we have new releases. So that's how we want to get it out to the crowd, not only through Tradeify TV, but through everyone, make them aware of what we got. So you kind of hit the nail on the head, everything there. We'll start, payments. Crypto's coming, Plaid's coming. So you'll be able to, a lot of people have been asking about that, especially in other countries. A lot of people want to pay with crypto. Sometimes there's issues. They don't have a credit card. They only have a debit card. I think debit cards, for some reason, have an issue at some firms and processors. I don't know why. So a lot of people want crypto. A lot of people want Plaid. So that will be coming with the new site shortly after the new site, excuse me. New site is basically a reskin of everything we have. I thought our site was great as it is and pretty slick and easy, but it's going to be even better than that. We are going to rebrand, one of the plans too. Take a guess what one that is, but I think everyone will like what that looks like and what's coming with that. And then also we are going to have the Grand Cup. So the Grand Cup is going to be something, that's what we wanted to launch like March, April. We originally called it March Madness.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of traders going at it to compete to see who's the best. Final round of it's traders going at it with live accounts on a separate leaderboard. First place trader brings home 100,000 or more. Depending on how many people sign up, we've estimated the prize could get up to 250,000, but we want to make at least the baseline 100,000, depending on how many people sign up. And what that looks like is basically trader stage one. We'll have more details coming out on this. I'll do a big thing about it.
Sure.
But, stage one is just a typical eval. Everybody signs up. You can only sign up to 4 times. So you can only reset. I don't know if it's going to be 4 or 5. I have to still figure out the numbers exactly and all of that. But you can only basically reset that product like 4 times, and you pass, you make it onto the second stage. Second stage is divided up into 10 different boards or 20 different boards. It depends how many people sign up, right? Of brackets. Top 10 from each bracket or top 15, again, depending how many traders make it or sign up, will advance to the third round. And that's where you get an actual live account. People battle it out. It's not just about number one having the most profit. It's also going to be point scores assigned to consistency, R to R, average winning day and versus losing day, things like that, right? So it's actually raw, true skill instead of just who can YOLO and hit number one.
Yeah.
Super excited about that. I think you're going to love it. Maybe you'll be one of the top 10. There's a bunch of people are going to have cash prizes. Even if you make it to the last round and you don't hit like top 10 or top 25 cash prizes, you still got a live account with us, right? So you're still always going to be positive. And we're really looking forward to that. It's going to be a big thing.
And it's a good opportunity
to do them every quarter.
Yeah. It's a good opportunity to have bragging rights too. Throw it up on the Twitter space and just show exactly like how badass you are. Sweet. I want to take things back a little bit, right? On the payouts, it says here you've paid out 39 million all time, right? What are you seeing from traders to get all of these payouts? Like, is there a common theme with like the people who get the most consistent payouts with Tradeify?
Yes. So what I've been seeing mostly, I think it's the same answer so far. I said this a couple months ago, I forget where, but the same thing I've been seeing even since then is these traders who are doing consistently well. And I'm going to speak to people who get to 2 or 3 payouts.
Okay.
Because I think it's the first payout isn't actually something true that you should look at, because there's just a lot of people who gamble, YOLO, don't trade correctly, right, to get there. So I think it's those who really make it to their second and third payout who are the ones who are really showing skill. I mean, obviously there's less people who get to those, but I think that's a better base to look at, because those are the people who are taking it usually serious or have a set strategy. So out of those people, a lot of them are mostly only taking 2 to 3 trades a day. They're going for higher risk to reward. So, 2 to 1 or 3 to 1 type trades are daily averages. They have a set number that they're stopping for the day. So let's just say like my daily loss is $1,500. Even though that's my daily loss for the day that I'm mentally saying I'm going to tap out for the day, or $1,000, something like that, even 500.
Yeah.
I don't have to use that as my stop loss. And that also goes back to, don't use your DLL as your stop loss, right? A lot of people, I think, want to do that. And in this market, even if you do that, you're getting like slippage for like a couple hundred
Yeah,
extra bucks.
you will.
There's some
Yeah.
people in our live, like they'll have a 3 or 4K daily loss limit, and let's just say it's 3K. They might end the day minus 4,200 just because the slippage is crazy with these candles, right? You get 20-point move down. If you're
100%.
oversized and you're already red
You
on the
get a
day,
tariff headline, that thing is gonna,
exactly,
yeah, you'll get
man.
smoked. Yeah.
Yeah, there was the worst one I've seen is almost double. Like 3 to like 5,200, something like that, 3,000 to 5,200. But again, it's not a broker thing. It's because there's literally that's live orders, right? It's not the broker not respecting your stop. It's that it's getting blown through.
Yeah.
There's no orders at that level right there to fill you, etc. So anyway, circling back, I think that the best traders take only 2 to 3 trades a day. They're also not trading exactly to the consistency rule.
Okay.
So let's just say you need to make, I don't know, let's say $3,000, and the consistency rule is 20%. So that's 3,000 divided by 5, right? So you're looking at $600 a day to get your first payout, right? With us, you have to still trade 10 days, so you can flip whatever. But the baseline is that profit target with consistency, right? Those are the two main rules that you have to hit. These people, just because they're not aiming to do 600 a day, 66666, right? They're just trading, right? Go for what you're comfortable with trading, because that's going to correlate to you having a bigger balance, being able to get towards that second and third payout. You don't want to just take a payout. I mean, I get it. If it's your first one, maybe you just want to get to that payout. Completely understand it in the beginning, but I think the end goal is to actually keep the account and generate multiple paychecks from this, right? Not just a one and done and burn the account. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of people need to be able to take trades that they're good at and build their account up rather than just aiming for that single payout rules.
Got it.
So having the extra capital basically and not going for those goals. Again, I'm not saying if you're consistently making 1,000 or 1,500 a day, don't make 5,000 in a day. That'll really mess up your consistency for sure. Yeah. But they're not afraid to make a couple extra hundred, even maybe 1,000 for that.
So don't trade the consistency rule. I mean, pay attention to like, don't just blow an account up to like make 10 grand in a day or something like that, where you mess it completely up. But don't get too narrowed in on, I have to make X amount each day to get a payout. Just focus on building the account, and then you'll eventually meet that consistency rule over time. Right.
Right. Because especially with the straight to sim funded, even rather any plan, right? When you're funded, there are no monthly fees with us.
Yeah.
Right. So you can take your time. There's no need to rush it. A lot of people over rush it, oversize, right? That's the number one thing that we see at prop is oversizing and over leveraging. So I think, keeping everyone disciplined and look at every firm's rules. Our rules might not be the best for you. Maybe you want to go to another firm which has different rules. If maybe a firm with a scaling plan holds you back from oversizing, right? Or maybe a firm that has a little bit of a different payout rule and easier target but less of a payout is the sweet spot for you. Find what firm works for you. Use the rules as a guideline, but make your own curriculum, right? So use these rules and keep them in line. You can stretch them a little bit, but always stay close, right? Keep that curriculum.
Let me ask you this. Do you think traders are kind of evolving in the prop firm space, like maybe like understanding how to trade prop firms more so now than they did maybe when things were still a little bit newer in the space? Obviously, like firms like, Top Step, they've been around forever, right? But when prop firms really became like popular, right? Do you think traders are evolving a little bit and understanding how to play the game?
I think a little bit. I think there's like different ways that people have learned to exploit more than game. Game and exploit are kind of like hand in hand, those two words, when you talk about people who are like gaming the system or exploiting it. And I think that's been because there's a lot of like notorious groups out there. We've seen like one, I think with us, a couple people that we had to ban, but nothing dramatic yet with us. I think at some of these bigger firms, they get a lot of that, these shops that open up that use a lot of VPNs, take a lot of people's different identities, try to get payouts, stuff like that. But in terms of like just the average person doing it, I don't think that there's been anything that I've seen that people are necessarily getting smarter. I think they're just hopefully becoming more disciplined.
That's what I mean. Like, so like
learning from people.
Yeah. Not really like exploiting the system, but like more so becoming like better traders and understanding how to, control their risk management with prop firm guidelines, right?
Yes, 100%. I think so. And we want to emphasize that, right? You think that we want a lot of people think, oh, these prop firms that just want everybody to fail. That's not the case. Why would we have a journal? Why would we have something that tells you the shittiest times you trade and the best times you trade, right? Like why would a firm want to do that? Some firms just like label, hey, you made this much this day, this was your best trade, this was your worst trade. Like we have literally full analytics on everything to make you a better trader, right?
Yeah.
We have a risk coach who's coming on top step. So I'm thinking of the Tradeify TV, who's coming on, going to be talking to our traders. He's part of our live program, right? We want all of our traders to get better. We want everyone to be able to make it to live and eventually, go further with us, right? Sure. Be able to have those daily payouts, live account, all the risk tools that we have. So I think a lot of people are learning from individuals, like yourself. A lot of people are getting into the space who have making content rather in the space who have been in it for years, and people are learning from them. And I think it's very valuable and builds people's knowledge to be able to get better at trading in general. And we want to I think our goal as traders is to be able to tell other people how they can not lose as much money as we did, because most people, I'm sure yourself and myself, I know for a fact, me included, took me over a year and a half to get profitable. We don't want people to lose as much as we did, and we want to cut the time down as much as we can. 100%. You're not going to be profitable in a month of first starting out, 2 months, 3 months, but hopefully it's not going to be a year and a half like it was for me.
Yeah, 100%. I think you also brought up a different point. I do want to ask a question on this. With people actually exploiting the system, right? Is that something that Tradeify has seen? Do you guys, have you seen any of that happen over at your firm?
So the new site we have, the new infrastructure is going to have all new risk management tools too. So we're going to be seeing a lot. We've been notified by the team that's building it out for us right now that there definitely is some fraudulent activity happening. However, we don't want to just come out and ban people or deny payouts, anything like that, without a clear plan. So when we move to this site, we're going to see how it's affecting things, see what they're doing, and we're going to announce it to everybody. And we're going to say exactly what it is, because I think that's another thing a lot of people hide behind is there's these groups coming at us doing exploit, gaming the system, but there's no actual evidence or description of what they're doing. So if we do that and we talk about that, we want to be able to say exactly what it is.
Sure.
Because otherwise it's kind of just BS, right? The meter's going up if I'm talking about it. So again, there's very little of that we've seen, but there definitely is some going on with us. So hopefully we can cut that out. And when you cut out things like that too, you can only make it better for traders.
Sure.
Because they're the people who are actually taking it serious. If the statistics and data and payout ratios are being swayed because of the people who are gaming the system or cheating, so to say, then it only hurts the people who are taking it serious. And that's not what we want.
100%. I'm going to backtrack a little bit and talk about your live accounts again. So there's, a lot of people talk about, is it worth going live with a prop firm, right? And in the recent interview that I did, we kind of brought it up a little bit. It's about talking about incentivizing traders to actually go live with a prop firm. And I think that's super important too, because it's like, do we go live with a prop firm or do we open a personal account? Right. Mm-hmm. And so when there's incentive behind the live account with prop firms, it makes, it's makes pretty good sense to actually stay live with the firm. Right. So what are you guys doing? I know you guys have merit accounts, like accounts you can earn through the live program. What are you guys doing with that?
So for us, when you go live, portion, if you're anything above 20,000, part of your live transition, we call it, amount, is paid out to you right away. So that's paid out to you on the payout split right away. You don't have to wait 30 days. You don't have to try to earn it. We don't, there's some things other firms do where, let's say we move you live with 10,000. Yeah. That isn't $10,000 of drawdown. Like, we're not starting you with zero and you go negative 10,000. That's $10,000 you're starting with that eventually you can withdraw. Some firms start you at zero. Some other firms forfeit some of it or hold some of it in a buffer in another place. There's different things, right? So we like to pride ourselves on giving you that money. We know that you worked hard and it took you a while to get there. You want to keep some of that money. So to kind of incentivize you or reward you, or I don't want to say convince you, but sway you, I guess, or whatever the word is, to stay with us live, we want to pay you out money in the beginning. because I know that a lot of people are waiting for that, first payout. They just want to take it. So if you at least you get a paycheck right away when you get to live, it feels better and you feel better trading live because you've already taken money out. You're not
Sure.
trading towards a goal to get some more out. You've just taken a big payout, just taken some out. So we offer that. In addition to that, we have the merit accounts, which you said. So there's different goals on our site. You can check them. But when you hit these, we'll reinvest our profit split into you. So you can start with a max of 2 accounts to start, but we go up to 5 accounts total. So those merit accounts are opened along the way. We might be redoing that. And, there hasn't been too many people who have, there's been people who've gotten a lot of merit accounts, a lot of up and down from it though, because it starts with a little bit of a lower balance
Sure.
compared to some of their higher ones. So some people just want to put it in their main account, different things. So we're playing around with it still. We're still figuring it out. We only started live in March. So we're still very new to the whole live space, or February maybe. Still a little bit new to the live space. We want to think of things like trips to bring people on, different tickets to give them,
Nice.
little prizes, bonuses. But we want to be able to come out with it and say, here, this is what it is. This is what it is. This is what it is. And that that's the path, right? It's a squiggly line. You can maybe get there by going here or there, but everyone knows exactly the clear path of what it is. We also offer one-on-one coaching with our new risk coach. He'll actually be on Tradeify TV tomorrow. So if you get this out tonight or tomorrow, whenever anybody watches this, watch the 6-3 Tradeify TV stream, because that's going to have Coach Asanka. His name's Coach Tank. He's worked with dozens of traders, hundreds of traders actually before. So I think everyone will get a lot of good insight from him. So I think the incentive though to stay live is definitely something that firms need to get better at, maybe ourselves included a little bit. But I also think traders take it a little bit for granted. And it's kind of your way of paying respect to the prop who just paid you out all this money from SIM, right?
Yeah.
When you look at prop, it's a one-on-one relationship.
Sure.
There's going to be people who say, oh, I don't want to stay with them. All these other people who are paying in, or all these other people, are failing, stuff like that. Don't look at other people. It's not a group relationship. You're not coming in to it with your sister, brother, mother, father, even if they are trading with us as a group to Tradeify. You're coming in as Joey to Tradeify. Sure, it could be your mom to Tradeify, it could be your brother, whatever, your friend to Tradeify, right? But it's a one-on-one relationship. So look at it in that form. And I think a lot of the different things that we see from our live traders, and when we explain it to them like that and give them these tools, there's a lot of respect given to us. So people want to stay live, even if they're giving up a little bit of a profit split that they get on their own. It's kind of like a mutual give and take type thing, right? You wouldn't have had this ability to leverage the money without prop. I think the prop space in general is of course, there's a lot of people who think, the rules are out to get you different things, but it's mostly because people are just over trading. Even if prop went down to like 70-30 or 65-35, something like that, splits off the top in general, I think it's still an amazing opportunity. I'm not saying we're looking at doing that or that would happen, but you're still able to leverage your money. You could pay a $50, $100, $200, 300 and get, a couple thousand in payouts every week, right? Every 2 weeks.
100%. Well, Brett, I gotta thank you, bro. I think this has been super insightful, and I think the traders are gonna get a lot out of this. Leave us with some words of wisdom, bro. Anything you want to talk about? What it could be plans with Tradeify. Leave us with something to go out with a bang.
Listen, so I think there's been a lot of stuff happening left and right in the prop space. I want people to know I'm really grateful for everyone building us up to where we are. We couldn't have done this without a lot of the support from people like Joey and our affiliates and different people, came out on a leg in the beginning for us. And even people who came along down the line, right? There's people we've had join the team last month, yesterday, whatever the case may be. Everyone's helping us get to the goal of being the best and reaching the most traders that we can, introducing them to trading, giving them a disciplined path, and then eventually getting them live, right? And I think that's something we want to continue to build upon. 1% better every day. So I hope everyone's going to like the new site we're coming out with. New broker, new trading tools, new risk tools, Coach Tank, and hopefully a lot more down the line. So, nothing too crazy out there, but you guys will see what we got planned after we get this vibranium put in. All right.
There you go, fam. You guys heard it there from the man himself, Brett Simba, owner of Tradeify. As always, guys, if you like this kind of content, be sure to smash that like button. Have a little thumb war with it. Let me know who wins down in the comments. Subscribe to the channel because we are live every single day. We're also throwing in some
follow
gold.
follow the follow this man. Follow
Yeah.
this man.
Hit that subscribe button. We're also live twice a day now. We are trading gold, but I don't know if you trade gold or not. If you ever like watched gold around like that 8 p.m. Central Time, probably 9
Little
p.m.
quick,
Eastern.
little quick thing on that. One of our best guys that I've seen trade only trades CL. I think
Ah,
more people need to look at oil. Oil has great moves. Speaking,
oil.
speaking of oil, our COO Gandalf, he loves oil. I got to do a special shout out to him. I completely forgot. Wouldn't be here without him as well. Really has helped us out. He's going to be doing a big reveal this week on Tradeify TV, and he's public all the time. His name's Gandalf on Twitter. A lot of people see him. He does a lot behind the scenes, so maybe he'll come on and do an interview with you for the third round. How
Yeah,
about that?
100%. Yeah.
But yeah, CL's good, gold's good. Don't just stick to Nasdaq because that's what the junkies do, man. I mean, hey, I traded too. I'm sure you do too.
It's a big dopamine hit.
It is. But there's other things out there, right? A chart
Yeah.
is a chart, so definitely check out different things, fit your style. But anyway, I know we're
100%.
wrapped up.
Yeah.
Get back
No,
into
there you
it.
go. Fam, drop a like, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.
Thank you, man.